Hi guys, I'm Jordan Jamarthy. My partner is Andy Zimmelhouse, and we're going to be presenting on music therapy.
All right, this is music therapy in a nutshell. Music therapy is the evidence-based use of a variety of music in different tasks with music to accomplish different goals in a therapeutic setting. It's been a recently growing field where a lot of hospitals, nursing homes, and other facilities like that are using the resources they have available with therapists. Schooling wise, you need to have a bachelor's degree or higher from one of 72 schools in America that offer the degree, and 1,200 hours of clinical training, which is it's 50 days. It's a lot more than what we have to do for music ed for our observation hours. And you have to have an MTBC certification from the certification board for music therapists. And time and time again, music has been to assist or to have a serious role in healing.
Okay, so I'm going to be discussing music therapy in a child development context. I found an article called The Impact of Music Therapy to Promote Positive Parenting and Child Development from the Journal of Health Psychology. This research study was done to assess the parent-child relationship before, during, and after the 10-week program called Sing and Grow. Sing and Grow is a group intervention program which entails singing, greeting, and farewell songs, singing traditional children's songs, singing to original compositions, and trying to work over improvised materials. It tried to get the children and the parents to sing and move and play together, whether it was singing or playing instruments or just listening to music. The parents were asked to fill out a form that would discuss their parenting warmth, their irritability, their self-efficacy, their mental health, their sensitivity, their engagement, and the children were observed by observers who were trying to assess their social play skills, their social participation, their responsiveness in their activities with their parents. So every session, the parents and the observers would fill out these forms, and over time they would hope that these would improve. Also, to give an example of like what kind of background these parents and children are coming from, the children are all anywhere from 0 to 3, and the parents are 25.3% single parents, 51% of them have no high school diploma, 16.4% of them have English as a second language, and 42% of their main income comes from the government. So that means that most of these people are coming from a little bit rougher backgrounds, and most of them were invited to take part in the research because they thought it would be beneficial for the parents and the children. They found that there were significant improvements in the parents' irritability, the parents' mental health, and the parents' activities with the child, as well as the child's communication and their social play skills. The parents said that there was a high degree of satisfaction with their music therapy intervention, and the researchers found that there's a high rate of intervention strategies in the homes. So the parents went home and they implemented similar strategies. Basically, this research suggests that a 10-week group intervention program with music therapy can enhance children's behavior, social and communication skills, as well as promote positive parenting, and it'll aid in the irritability, sensitivity, engagement, and acceptance of parents. So that's it.
Differentiating between what is and what isn't music therapy is important because there are music is involved in a lot of things, but you don't need a music therapist to do either play a song for an Alzheimer's patient that was one of their favorite songs when they were younger, or if you had a choir come in, or you were part of the choir that went into a nursing home to sing them Christmas carols. You don't need to have a degree to be able to do that. But some examples that what you do is you can work with dementia patients and help them work through rhythmic patterns in songs to help them retain the rhythm. Or if you're working with a Parkinson's patient, playing along with like drumsticks will help improve their motor skills, which obviously becomes affected by Parkinson's.
Okay, so the second article I found discussing music therapy in child development context was called Relating Improvisational Music Therapy with Severely and Multiply Disabled. So basically, there was a research study done on a group of kids from 5 to 11 who had severe or multiple severe disabilities. All of the children were pre-intentionally communicative or early intention communicative. Most of the kids were on the spectrum. Most of the kids had some sort of hearing impairment. And among the disabilities that these kids had, many of them had cerebral palsy, many of them had epilepsy, some had microcephaly, and some had Norie's disease. So the study was basically done to see how they could improve their communication with the use of music, because most, if not all of these kids were nonverbal, or they couldn't even communicate with signs or pictures. A requirement for the study was that the children had no consistent use of any form of symbols in communication. So the study was done using guitars, piano, a zither instrument, singing, and percussion instruments to see how the children would communicate using those. So the children would play along with each other, they would improvise, and they would take turns. And the researchers found that the children were communicating with each other through the instruments, and that's a significant step forward from being non-communicative. So the research study was taking a step towards finding out how to help these kids be verbally communicative, and they thought that with this musical communication, it was a step in the right direction.
A very popular case of a music therapist helping someone it was on January 8th, 2011. Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was shot in the head during a meeting with other constituents outside the supermarket in Casas Adobes, Arizona. She was severely injured after, but on her way back to being, she couldn't walk or speak, and when she was finally able to start getting treatment, she worked with a music therapist to begin talking again. She was struggling trying to speak. She couldn't even get one word out. And there's a YouTube video where her music therapist had her try and speak the word and say the word light. She couldn't do it, but then she had her sing through the church song, "There's a Little Light of Mine," and she was able to sing through the whole song. And then in the interview, her therapist, the music therapist, Megan Monroe, said that music's accessed in different parts of the brain, and then with her singing and working on pitch, melody, and rhythm, it helps her get back to being able to speak comfortably again. And Dr. Oliver Sacks, who's professor of neurology and psychiatry at Columbia University in New York, said that music's found in both halves of the brain, so it's left and right, where language is only found in the left, which was the half of the brain where she was shot, which, since that affected her ability to speak, and even though later on it says she's had aphasia, which is the condition where she knows what she wants to say and she wants to say it, but it just can't come out. But yeah, so Dr. Oliver Sacks said that music activates the brain and helps rebuild the damaged side of the language area. So because it's found in both the left and right side, they're able to access it through the left side and help repair the language that was damaged. And then over time, throughout her treatment, they would break away from singing and try and transition more into speaking versus singing. And after that, there was a video of her 5 years after she was shot, and in the video, she was talking at a much more normal level than versus when she was first getting treatment. And then she also started relearning how to play the French horn, which she played in high school. And I think a lot of music ed people can agree that French horn is no easy thing to learn. So she's definitely getting back to where she can be, but she has a service dog too, and she walks with a cane because part of her right side of her body is damaged. She can't see out of a certain distance with her right eye, where in the video it showed her husband, Mark Kelly, who's actually was a retired astronaut and who's running for U.S. Senate this election cycle, was moving his finger past her face, and he said, "Tell me when you can start to see it." And until he got to about near the front of her face, she couldn't see it until then. But yeah, so she's doing much better now, and with music therapy, it helped her be able to speak again. All right, so I have a friend who actually studies music therapy at Fredonia, which is also in New York. He's currently a sophomore, so he's started doing his clinical practices. And I asked him for some information because I know he's very passionate about it. So he sent me some of his lesson plans. You know, he's doing it firsthand, so I figured why not ask someone who's, you know, used to it. And then so he sent me some stuff I looked over. For like one day in particular, he was working with a partner, and their main focus was to help with their motor skills. So they would play along, they would play a song, and they would have egg shakers in their hand, and they would work on keeping the rhythm to the song. And then to help with their memory, he would play a rhythm on the egg shaker, and then he would say, "Can you play it back for me?" So that's like a little exercise that they would do. And then once they did that as like a warm up, they would do stretching also, because they really wanted to engage the body and get the body moving. And then they would start doing some singing where him and his partner would go back and forth singing, and they would, you know, either tap along with sticks or they would play with the egg shakers just to keep the rhythm. And then he said another thing that he wanted to focus on, because he has a one-on-one patient, was he wanted to help with their confidence. So, well, that's also in the group too. Like they would work with each other, and they would pass along instruments to each other, and they would build relationships and just feel more comfortable being with each other along. But then with his one-on-one, he wrote a song just for him called "Just Smile," because he said that his patient in particular was a little bit embarrassed and just didn't feel like he was really fitting in with the others there. And so once they had the song down enough, they would work on it, you know, every week, and then when they were ready to perform it, my friend played the accompaniment on the piano, and then his patient sung the song in front of the group, and the other patients were really supportive, he said, about it, and it just helped their relationship tighten, and you know, the bond between them, since it was more a personal connection. And my friend loves it, loves what he's doing, and he was very eager to share information with me, which I'm very thankful for. But he thinks that he believes that there's a lot of good work that people are doing music therapy, and he thinks that it's going in a good direction.
Okay, so we reached some conclusions about music therapy. The first of which is that it can be helpful in developing oral and oral skills, such as hearing and listening and speaking. So whether this is learning or relearning, music has been shown to be a helpful step in getting towards like speaking again, or towards like listening carefully. We also found that music therapy is really helpful to children in that it can prepare them for some things that they need later on in life, like social play skills, social participation, responsiveness, and just communication in general. If you can like communicate with other children, that's a step towards being able to communicate like in the real world. Also, we found that improvisational music therapy is really helpful with communication in specific, because some view improvisation as a way of communicating and speaking by itself. And this is like, again, a step towards being universally like communicative. Those are some of the conclusions that we drew. Okay, so here's our list of references. I'll zoom in on this so you guys can see it. And that'll be it. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Good luck to all of you out there.